You're listening to Wayne Buckler on Health Professional Radio. If you've just joined us in conversation today, I'm having a chat with Alex Watt. Alex is with Silverchair Training, who are major training providers to particularly aged and palliative care, but a spectrum of services pretty much right across Australia. Alex, I think we've talked about your services and our listeners would be aware of them. Is there anything you've missed in the services that you offer that we need to talk about that we haven't given a mention to?
Nothing in particular. I mean, we have a wide range of things that we do. Some of them are transportable to different states and locations, some of them less so because of regulation and licensing requirements. One thing we are looking at developing, though, is a complementary service to one of our core products, which is a set of clinical practice guidelines aimed at nursing in the aged and community setting. And the complementary product that we're putting together is a competency assessment and gap training service so that health service providers who adopt these guidelines can make sure their staff are trained and suitably assessed as being competent in their performance. And we see this as a need at all levels of scale for health service providers, and interestingly, even more so at the larger end of scale where it's a challenge to manage the competency standards for large volumes of workers, particularly across geographic regions where you're quite widespread with your workforce. So that's a really exciting little space that we're looking at the minute, and using quite a lot of technology through things like e-learning and remote evidence collection to support that service.
Oh, we'll look forward to having a conversation with you about those as they come to light and get launched publicly. Alex, what's the best way for people to find out more about your organisation?
So, as with most things nowadays, the simplest way is to go to the website, which is silverchaintraining.edu.au. You can find us through the Silverchain Group website, which is silverchain.org.au. They are the simplest ways to get in touch with us. Alternatively, the 1300 number to call, 1300 886 204, and you can get a voice-to-voice conversation with someone who can answer your questions.
That's so old-fashioned, isn't it? Just having a conversation with someone on the phone.
Isn't it? It should happen more and more, in my view. We're a human services industry, and yeah, that's what it's about.
It would make life a lot simpler, wouldn't it?
It sure would.
Alex, before we wrap up, the question that I always like to ask, what's the biggest misconception about your products and services that drives you nuts and keeps you awake at night?
So I'll wear my organisational development hat for a moment, and what I'll say is very often I see employers and even individuals believing that a training intervention will solve whatever problem they've got by itself. And this is almost never the case. My experience over the last 15 years or so is that training interventions, whether they're products like guidelines or whether they're workshops or courses, need to be part of a larger, more comprehensive strategy to dealing with the issue. Very often we see employers or customers approach us and say, can you just build us a course to do this, this thing or achieve this outcome? And we're more than happy to do that, but I'll always have the conversation to say, what else are you doing to make sure this intervention really delivers the change that you're looking for? And so if it keeps me awake, it's how do I get employers and customers to understand that it's just not going to a workshop or doing an online course that will shift performance and behaviour. There's got to be more to it. Workplace culture, recruitment and retention strategies, the incentive models for staff to take up training, how the training intervention is then hardwired into the business, how it's applied in performance evaluations. All of these things are features in making it work well.
That does sound like a problem worthy of keeping you awake at night, I have to say. Bringing about change is never a simple process.
Absolutely right.
You've been listening to Alex Watt from Silver Chain Training this morning, and we've been discussing the products and services that Silver Chain offers and their Australia-wide footprint in health services. My name is Wayne Buckler, and our conversation this morning is available on our website at www.hbr.fm, and an audio copy of it's available from the website as well. If you have any matters or issues that you'd like to raise with Alex from Silver Chain Training, the website and the phone number also on the website in the introduction to this interview. Alex, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure talking with you on Health Professional Radio this morning.
Thank you very much.